Cyberbullying, cyber harassment or online bullying, is a form of bullying or harassment using electronic means. It has become increasingly common, especially among teenagers and adolescents, due to young people's increased use of social media. Related issues include online harassment and trolling. In 2015, according to cyberbullying statistics from the iSafe Foundation, over half of adolescents and teens had been bullied online, and about the same number had engaged in cyberbullying. Both the bully and the victim are negatively affected, and the intensity, duration, and frequency of bullying are three aspects that increase the negative effects on both of them. Harmful bullying behavior can include posting rumors, threats, sexual remarks, a victim's personal information, or hate speech. Bullying or harassment can be identified by repeated behavior and an intent to harm. Tactics can also include creating or posting on fake profiles to create anonymity to spread harmful messages. Cyberbullying is in many cases an extension of already existing traditional bullying. Students who are bullied via the internet have, in most cases, also been bullied in other more traditional ways before, example physically or verbally. There are few students who are bullied exclusively over the internet. These cyber victims are often physically stronger students, which causes bullies to prefer online confrontations over face-to-face contact at school. Awareness in the United States has risen in the 2010s, due in part to high-profile cases. Several U.S. states and other countries have passed laws to combat cyberbullying. Some are designed to specifically target teen cyberbullying, while others extend from the scope of physical harassment. In cases of adult cyber harassment, these reports are usually filed beginning with local police. The laws differ by area or state. Research has demonstrated a number of serious consequences of cyberbullying victimization. Specific statistics on the negative effects of cyberbullying differ by country and other demographics. Some researchers point out there could be some way to use modern computer techniques to determine and stopping cyberbullying. Other research has suggested an uptick in cyberbullying during the COVID-19 pandemic when many youth and adults were quarantined at home and, as a consequence, online more often than before the pandemic. For example, a study of adults published in the Journal of Social Psychology identified statistically significant increases in pro-cyberbullying attitudes as well as in cyberbullying offending behavior. However, another study involving over 6,500 Canadian youth in grades 4 to 12 did not find higher rates of cyberbullying involvement. The authors speculated that this might be a result of closer monitoring and involvement of online activities by parents while their children were at home. Internet trolling is a common form of bullying that takes place in an online community, such as online gaming or social media, in order to elicit a reaction or disruption, or simply just for someone's own personal amusement. Cyberstalking is another form of bullying or harassment that uses electronic communications to stalk a victim. This may pose a credible threat to the victim. Not all negative interaction online or on social media can be attributed to cyberbullying. Research suggests that there are also interactions online that result in peer pressure, which can have a negative, positive, or neutral impact on those involved. A frequently used definition of cyberbullying is an aggressive, intentional act or behavior that is carried out by a group or an individual, using electronic forms of contact, repeatedly and over time against a victim who cannot easily defend him or herself. It is to be distinguished from normal conflicts between people of comparable power or status that often also occur online. There are many variations of the definition, such as the National Crime Prevention Council's more specific definition: the process of using the internet, cell phones or other devices to send or post text or images intended to hurt or embarrass another person. Cyberbullying is often similar to traditional bullying, with some notable distinctions. Victims of cyberbullying may not know the identity of their bully, or why the bully is targeting them, based on the online nature of the interaction. The harassment can have wide-reaching effects on the victim, as the content used to harass the victim can be spread and shared easily among many people and often remains accessible long after the initial incident. The terms cyberharassment and cyberbullying are sometimes used synonymously, though some people use the latter to refer specifically to harassment among minors or in a school setting. Cyberstalking is a form of online harassment in which the perpetrator uses electronic communications to stalk a victim. This is considered more dangerous than other forms of cyberbullying because it generally involves a credible threat to the victim's safety. Cyberstalkers may send repeated messages intended to threaten or harass, and they may encourage others to do the same, either explicitly or by impersonating their victim and asking others to contact them. This can be a combination of most of the other methods in order to stalk someone using electronic means. This can include finding the victim's location, harassing them with spam, or using sextortion. An example of this situation occurring is when Paris Deshant Evet, a 30-year-old from Tulsa, cyberstalked one of his former partners. A news article on it states, between October 2018 and continuing until October 2020, Evet used email, Facebook, and text messages to control and threaten the victim. However, his abuse of the victim had started years before. Between 2012 and 2019, Evet was convicted on 5 different occasions for physically abusing the victim, including strangulation, assault, and interfering with reporting. Evet was also on state supervision at the time of the current offenses. The unidentified victim explained that Evet had destroyed her sense of security and became emotional when she discussed Evet's statement that he would rather see her dead than happy. She also stated, "The longer he is away from my children and I, the more time we have to try and heal and move on with our lives, if that is even possible." Internet trolls intentionally try to provoke or offend others in order to elicit a reaction. Trolls and cyberbullies do not always have the same goals. While some trolls engage in cyberbullying, others may be engaged in comparatively harmless mischief. A troll may be disruptive either for their own amusement or because they are genuinely a combative person. Trolling can include insults, false news, or terrorist threats. On Twitch and other live streaming services, hate raids are situations where a stream is raided by many viewers who flood the chat with harassment and other hateful messages. This prevents the streamer from executing their stream. These viewers are typically automated bots, making it difficult to moderate and block. Spamming is the act of creating multiple accounts and sending messages to a target en masse. A common situation where spam can occur is after a breakup. If one partner is obsessive, they may send their ex messages on multiple platforms. This often happens despite being blocked by the recipient. The article "What Can Police Do About Harassing Texts?" states, keep in mind that harassment of any kind is illegal and includes in person, over the phone, via text messages, through social media, or any other method. Some laws are in place about cyberbullying that are designed to protect the public from this happening. Impersonation is the act of pretending to be another person. If the offender pretends to be the victim, they may say or do things to hurt the victim's reputation. This can include hacking into a Twitter account and spreading disinformation. One famous example is when Sony Music's Twitter account was hacked and posted the following statement: "Britney Spears is dead by accident. We will tell you more soon. #RIP Britney." Spears was, in fact, alive and well. Doxing is the act of disclosing a victim's personal data, such as their home address, phone number, and full name. Doxing can happen when fans in fandoms with large fan bases often go too far when protecting their idols and enter the realm of cyberbullying. Extreme fans of the K-pop music genres sometimes dox fans of rival music groups. This specifically was shown in an incident where fans of the group Blackpink doxed the owner of a Twice fan account, sending him to a hospital. This is allegedly because a Twice member disrespected a Blackpink member. Online sexual harassment is considered a form of cyberbullying. Sextortion, a form of sexual harassment, is the act of coercing a person into sharing intimate images before threatening to release them unless money is paid. It is a specific type of blackmail. The line between sexual harassment and cyberbullying is blurred. Some people will blackmail their classmates for nudes, threatening to release embarrassing information. They also use revenge porn and release nudes to get payback. This was the case when a 16-year-old student of W.F. West High School in Chehalis exploited more than 100 victims, many of which were his classmates. He owned over 900 photos and videos of victims. Research has identified basic guidelines to help recognize and deal with what is regarded as abuse of electronic communications. Cyberbullying involves repeated behavior with intent to harm. Cyberbullying is perpetrated through harassment, cyberstalking, denigration, sending or posting cruel rumors and falsehoods to damage reputation and friendships, impersonation and exclusion, intentionally and cruelly excluding someone from an online group. Cyberbullying can be as simple as continuing to send emails or text messages harassing someone who has said they want no further contact with the sender. It may also include public actions such as repeated threats, sexual remarks, pejorative labels, i.e. hate speech, or defamatory false accusations, ganging up on a victim by making the person the subject of ridicule in online forums, hacking into or vandalizing sites about a person, and posting false statements as fact aimed at discrediting or humiliating a targeted person. Cyberbullying could be limited to posting rumors about a person on the internet with the intention of bringing about hatred in others' minds or convincing others to dislike or participate in online denigration of a target. It may go to the extent of personally identifying victims of crime and publishing materials defaming or humiliating them. Cyberbullies may disclose victims' personal data, e.g. real name, home address, or workplace/schools, on websites or forums called doxing, or may use impersonation, creating fake accounts, comments, or sites posing as their target for the purpose of publishing material in their name that defames, discredits or ridicules them. This can leave the cyberbully anonymous, which can make it difficult for them to be caught or punished for their behavior, although not all cyberbullies maintain their anonymity. Users of semi-anonymous chat websites are at high risk for cyberbullying, as it is also easy in this outlet for a cyberbully to remain anonymous. Text or instant messages and emails between friends can also constitute cyberbullying if what is said is hurtful. The recent rise of smartphones and mobile apps have yielded a more accessible form of cyberbullying. It is expected that cyberbullying via these platforms will occur more often than through more stationary internet platforms because of constant access to the internet. In addition, the combination of cameras and internet access and the instant availability of these modern smartphone technologies yields specific types of cyberbullying not found in other platforms. It is likely that those cyberbullied via mobile devices will experience a wider range of cyberbullying methods than those who are exclusively bullied elsewhere. Some teens argue that some events categorized as cyberbullying are simply drama. Boyd writes, teens regularly used that word drama to describe various forms of interpersonal conflict that ranged from insignificant joking around to serious jealousy-driven relational aggression. Whereas adults might have labeled many of these practices as bullying, teens saw them as drama. Cyberbullying can take place on social media sites such as Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. By 2008, 93% of young people between the ages of 12 and 17 were online. In fact, youth spend more time with media than any single other activity besides sleeping. The last decade has witnessed a surge of cyberbullying, which is categorized as bullying that occurs through the use of electronic communication technologies, such as email, instant messaging, social media, online gaming, or through digital messages or images sent to a cellular phone. There are many risks attached to social media sites, and cyberbullying is one of the larger risks. 1 million children were harassed, threatened, or subjected to other forms of cyberbullying on Facebook during the past year, while 90% of social media using teens who have witnessed online cruelty say they have ignored mean behavior on social media, and 35% have done so frequently. 95% of social media using teens who have witnessed cruel behavior on social networking sites say they have seen others ignoring the mean behavior, and 55% have witnessed this frequently. Terms like Facebook depression have been coined specifically in regard to the result of extended social media use, with cyberbullying playing a large part in this. Cyberbullying has become more common nowadays because of all the technology that children have access to. The most common apps that teenagers use to cyberbully are Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Cyberbullying has become harder to stop because parents and teachers are unaware of when and where it is happening. A 2006 study found that 45% of teens and 30% of adolescents were cyberbullied while at school. This was linked to the reason students had access to their online devices such as cell phones or computers. Teens will say awful things to one another online, and what they do not realize is that once it is said and published online, it will not go away. Home used to be a safe place for teens, but now a child is still within reach of becoming a victim of cyberbullying, whether it is through YouTube, ask.fm, or a text message. Wherever you face, it is easy to come across cyberbullying, making it almost impossible to escape. According to a 2013 Pew Research study, 8 out of 10 teens who use social media now share more information about themselves than they have in the past. This includes their location, images, and contact information. In order to protect children, it is important that personal information such as age, birthday, school/church, phone number, etc. be kept confidential. Cyberbullying can also take place through the use of websites belonging to certain groups to effectively request the targeting of another individual or group. An example of this is the bullying of climate scientists and activists. Gaming was a more common venue for men in which to experience harassment, whereas women's harassment tended to occur more via social media. Most respondents considered gaming culture to be equally welcoming to both genders, though 44% thought it favored men. Sexual harassment in gaming generally involves slurs directed towards women, sex role stereotyping, and over-aggressive language. Keisha MacDonald writes in The Guardian that sexism exists in gaming culture, but is not mainstream within it. U.S. President Barack Obama made reference to the harassment of women gamers during his remarks in honor of Women's History Month. Competitive gaming scenes have been less welcoming of women than has broader gaming culture. In an internet-streamed fighting game competition, one female gamer forfeited a match after the coach of her team, Eris Bakhtanians, stated, "The sexual harassment is part of the culture. If you remove that from the fighting game community, it's not the fighting game community." The comments were widely condemned by gamers, with comments in support of sexual harassment drowned out by a vocal majority of people expressing outrage, disappointment, and sympathy. The incident built momentum for action to counter sexual harassment in gaming. Some game developers have been subjected to harassment and death threats by players upset by changes to a game or by a developer's online policies. Harassment also occurs in reaction to critics such as Jack Thompson or Anita Sarkeesian, whom some fans see as threats to the medium. Various people have been harassed in connection with the Gamergate controversy. Harassment related to gaming is not of a notably different severity or tenor compared to online harassment motivated by other subcultures or advocacy issues. Other developers have been harassed simply due to misogyny or anti-LGBTQ+ stances. A notable case was the death of Nier, the developer of Higan, a console emulator, who took their own life after becoming the subject to ridicule from members of the online Kiwi Farms board following their announcement of being non-binary. Sabotage among rival crowdfunding campaigns is a recurring problem for projects related to gaming. Some instances of swatting in games such as Call of Duty and League of Legends have resulted in law enforcement SWAT units called on individuals' homes as a prank. On December 28, 2017, Wichita, Kansas, police officers killed Andrew Finch at his Kansas home in a reported swatting prank. Information cascades happen when users start passing along information they assume to be true, but cannot know to be true, based on information on what other users are doing. This can be accelerated by search engines' ranking technologies and their tendency to return results relevant to a user's previous interests. This type of information spreading is hard to stop. Information cascades over social media and the internet may also be harmless, and may contain truthful information. Bullies use Google bombs, a term applicable to any search engine, to increase the prominence of favored posts sorted by the most popular searches, done by linking to those posts from as many other web pages as possible. Examples include the campaign for the neologism Santorum organized by the LGBT lobby. Google bombs can manipulate the internet search engines regardless of how authentic the pages are, but there is a way to counteract this type of manipulation as well. Dating app users who are victims of cyberbullying encounter a range of harmful behaviors, including catfishing, the uninvited sharing of personal images, and offensive remarks. These activities not only violate personal boundaries but also have a detrimental impact on the victim's mental health. Research by the Pew Research Center highlights how common this issue is, finding that almost 60% of female users between the ages of 18 and 34 have received unsolicited sexual messages or photographs on dating apps. Moreover, it was found that 36% of American users of dating apps have been the victim of online abuse. Dating app users are more likely to experience hate speech and cyberbullying because of this rate, which is almost twice as high as the whole American population. In addition to sexual harassment, other forms of cyberbullying and hate speech are among the most frequent forms of harassment that users of these sites report experiencing. The fundamental safety and trust that underlie online dating sites' functionality are compromised by these upsetting encounters. Victims may experience significant effects, including elevated stress and anxiety levels and, in certain cases, chronic psychological trauma. There are many famous cases of cyberbullying online, e.g. Daisy Coleman. Although most people may not realize it, some of these internet memes actually show cyberbullying in action. Uploaded in 2003, the star of the video, Ghislaine Rassa, a 9th grader at the time, is shown messing around and waving around a golf ball retriever as if it is a real Jedi lightsaber. He was helping his friend parody the movie Star Wars. The video was uploaded to YouTube several months later by Ross's classmates without his knowledge or permission. The video blew up and became one of the first viral internet memes. The video accumulated 900 million views. Despite trying to protect his privacy, Rassa was mocked both online and in real life. He was body shamed, doxed, and told to commit suicide, among other things. Students at school leaped onto tables to mock him, and his video was parodied on multiple shows including South Park. Rassa had to move schools multiple times, and became homeschooled. He was harassed for years over a video he did not upload. Today, he is working on a documentary talking about his internet fame and the harassment that came along with it. He wants to focus on internet privacy and consent. Controversially, some internet users use cyberbullying for ethical means. Some reasons include justice for victims, activism, and persuading/scaring politicians. Committing moral actions for immoral causes is commonly seen in the realm of activism. Some internet users pose as children online in order to catch online predators, child sex trafficking rings and pedophiles. One such user is Rue Powell, who poses as a 15-year-old girl online in order to catch sex offenders targeting children. She is the star of the show Undercover Underage, which documents her experiences exposing pedophiles and working with law enforcement. She is the founder of the nonprofit organization SOSA, Safe from Online Sex Abuse. Powell educates children on the dangers of online predators and talks to them about how to practice online safety. A majority of states have laws that explicitly include electronic forms of communication within stalking or harassment laws. Most law enforcement agencies have cybercrime units, and internet stalking is often treated with more seriousness than reports of physical stalking. Help and resources can be searched by state or area. The safety of online privacy issues in schools is increasingly becoming a focus of state legislative action. There was an increase in cyberbullying enacted legislation between 2006 and 2010. Initiatives and curriculum requirements also exist in the UK, the Ofsted e-Safety Guidance, and Australia, Overarching Learning Outcome 13. In 2012, a group of teenagers in a design class New Haven, Connecticut, developed an application to help fight bullying, Back Off Bully, Bob. This is an anonymous resource for computer, smartphone, or iPad, designed so when someone witnesses or is the victim of bullying, they can immediately report the incident. The app asks questions about time, location, and how the bullying is happening, as well as provides positive action and empowerment regarding the incident. The reported information goes to a database, where it may be studied by administrators. Common threads are spotted so others can intervene and break the bully's pattern. Back off bully is being considered as standard operating procedure at schools across Connecticut, while recent studies carried out among 66 high school teachers have concluded that prevention programs have proved ineffective to date. Teachers can also be cyberbullied by pupils, as well as by parents and other school staff. The effects of cyberbullying vary, but research illustrates that cyberbullying adversely affects youth to a higher degree than adolescents and adults. Youth are more likely to suffer since they are still growing mentally and physically. Jennifer N. Cottle, a certified family physician, says, kids that are bullied are likely to experience anxiety, depression, loneliness, unhappiness, and poor sleep. Most of the time cyberbullying goes unnoticed. The younger generation hides their bullying from anyone that can help to prevent the bullying from occurring and from getting worse. Between 20% and 40% of adolescents are victims of cyberbullying worldwide. The youth slowly change their behaviors and actions so they become more withdrawn and quieter, but this may go unnoticed since the change is subtle. Mead and Danes believe cyberbullying will become a serious problem in the future with an increase in the internet and mobile phone usage among young people. If preventive actions are not taken against cyberbullying, younger children in addition to teenagers will feel lonelier and more depressed along with having significant changes in their eating and sleeping patterns as well as loss of interest in their normal activities. These changes will affect their growth and development into adulthood. Younger children and teenagers are 76.2% less likely to display suicidal behaviors and thoughts, but are still at risk depending on other factors such as mental health status, home care, and relationships with others. The risk of suicide increases by 35% to 45% when victims do not have any support from anyone in their life, and cyberbullying amplifies the situation. Young people seem particularly vulnerable to the effects of cyberbullying through anonymous social media, perhaps because adolescents are attracted to these platforms as a means of seeking validation from their peers. Abuse on these platforms, such as ASKFM, YIKYAK, and Saraha, can be particularly keenly felt by young people, leading to issues of loss of confidence. There have been a number of suicides related to bullying on these platforms in the US and Britain. By at least 2018, some doctors have been targets of online harassment from anti-vaccine activists responding to their social media posts, including hundreds of negative false reviews on doctor ratings sites. This made some of the doctors more reluctant to share information about vaccines, but others formed groups to spread factual information about vaccine safety on social media in response. The CyberSmile Foundation is a cyberbullying charity committed to tackling all forms of online bullying, abuse, and hate campaigns. It was founded in 2010 in response to the increasing number of cyberbullying-related incidents of depression, eating disorders, social isolation, self-harm and suicides devastating lives around the world. CyberSmile provides support to victims and their friends and families through social media interaction, email, and helpline support. They also run an annual event, Stop Cyberbullying Day, to draw attention to the issue. A number of organizations are in coalition to provide awareness, protection, and recourse for this escalating problem. Some aim to inform and provide measures to avoid as well as effectively terminate cyberbullying and cyber-harassment. Anti-Bullying Charity Act Against Bullying launched the Cyberkind campaign in August 2009 to promote positive internet usage. In 2007, YouTube introduced the first anti-bullying channel for youth, Beat Bullying, using the assistance of celebrities to tackle the problem. In March 2010, a 17-year-old girl named Alexis Skye Pilkington was found dead in her room by her parents. Her parents claimed that after repeated cyberbullying, she was driven to suicide. Shortly after her death, attacks resumed. Members of eBomb's World began to troll teens' memorial pages on Facebook, with the comments including expressions of pleasure over the death, with pictures of what seemed to be a banana as their profile pictures. Family and friends of the deceased teen responded by creating Facebook groups denouncing cyberbullying and trolling, with logos of bananas behind a red circle with a diagonal line through it. In response and partnership to the 2011 film Bully, a grassroots effort to stop cyberbullying called the Bully Project was created. Their goal is to start a national movement to stop bullying that is transforming children's lives and changing a culture of bullying into one of empathy and action. International cooperation. The UNESCO International Day Against Violence and Bullying at School, including cyberbullying, is celebrated every year on the first Thursday of November since 2020. Thank you for watching this video.